Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to do a tutorial on how to complete Mountain Math problem number 1. And we will make a tutorial for every Mountain Math problem that we introduce. And so for this one, it's problem number 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shift on over to my document camera here, and I'm going to be able to take a look at what Mountain Math is. Mountain Math is actually Common Core Daily Review, but it is a long-standing program, and we know it as Mountain Math. And we're going to be doing problem number 1 today. Each worksheet that you get for Mountain Math or our Common Core Daily Review is going to have the numbers that you need to solve the problem. In this case, we have the numbers 256 and 246 for number 1. We are going to be able to complete this entire box using the numbers 256 and 246. So it goes a little something like this. For number 1, we have first number and second number. So we have 2 columns. We're going to be doing the same thing with each one of these numbers. And so our first number says write the number 256, and then second number 246. After writing the number, the second task that we want to do with this number is determine if it's even or odd. Determining whether a number is even or odd depends on what digit is in the ones place. So here's the ones place here, and our digits 0 through 9, or 1 through 0, we may say, depending on how you line them up. If the digit in the ones place is even or odd, it makes the entire number that way. In this case, we have the digit 6. The digit 6 is an even digit, and I know that because if I skip count by 2s, I land on 6. 2, 4, 6. So since there is a 6 in the ones place, it makes the entire number even. It's the same thing for the second number, for 246. So both of them are even. The third task that we will do to complete number 1 is write in word form. We're going to be writing 256 and 246 in word form. And so when we do that, we are going to be doing our best with spelling, okay? I'm not going to count your answer wrong if you happen to misspell a number. But you do have Google at your fingertips. And so if you need to know how to spell a number, look it up. So we have 256. Okay? And then we have 246. And we're done with the third task for that number. What we will do next is put each number into expanded form. And when we put each number into expanded form, we are going to take the value of each one of these digits. What is the value of the 2? What's the value of the 5? What's the value of the 6? And when we take those values, we have a 2 that's in the hundreds place. The value is 200. We have plus the value of the 5. It's in the tens place. It's 50. And the value of the 6 in the ones place is 6. 256. Same thing for 246. We have 2 in a hundreds place. We have a value of 200. 4 in the tens gives us a value of 40, and a 6 in the ones place, a value of 6. Okay, so now the next task, the fifth task, so the first one's write the number, figure if it's even or odd. The third is write it in word form, and the fourth is to put it in expanded form. The fifth task is here. We're going to be adding and subtracting by 100. and multiplying by multiples of 10. So multiplying by 10, multiplying by 100, and multiplying by 1,000. So what we have here, if we have the number 256 and we want to add 100, all we got to do is find the digit that's in the hundreds place and increase it by 1. And that means to go from 2 to a 3. So you add 100 to 256, 356. You add 100 to 246, you end up with 346. Take away 100, it's the opposite. We're going to decrease that 2 by 1, and we now have 156. And here we have 146. Now, the strategy for the next 3 items, we are multiplying by 10, we're multiplying by 100, and we're multiplying by 1,000. Go ahead and do this for me. Go ahead and simply write the number down. 256 3 times, 256 and 256. What I'm about to show you is a little bit of mental math. 246, 246, and 246. A little bit of mental math here. Anytime you multiply anything by 10, all you have to do is add a 0. Okay, so if I multiplied 256 times 10, and I just told you the only thing you got to do is add a 0, put a 0 at the end of the number. Anytime you add anything times 100, you add 2 zeros to the end of it. Okay, I just asked you, what do you got to do when you multiply a number by 100? Simply add 2 zeros to the end of it, just like this. And then what are you going to do when you multiply a number by 1,000? You may infer that you are going to add 3 zeros, and that's exactly correct. So before you're done, you need to go back through and you need to add your commas, okay? So ones, tens, hundreds, comma, ones, tens, hundreds, comma, ones, tens, hundreds, comma. And that's to separate out your periods, okay? Same thing here. We're going to multiply by 10, add a 0. Multiply by 100, add 2 zeros. Multiply by 1,000, add 3 zeros. Go ahead and add your commas. Ones, tens, hundreds, comma, ones, tens, hundreds, comma, ones, tens, hundreds, comma. All right. So that is the 5th task for our numbers here. Great for mental math purposes. All right, let's compare these two numbers. We have 256 and we have 246. You're comparing numbers, they're sitting side by side. The first thing you're going to want to do is figure out which place value position are you going to use. Are we going to use the hundreds? We can't. They both have a 2. Can we use the tens? Yes, we can. Which digit is larger? The 5 is larger than the 4. 256 is greater than 246. All right. The next 2 questions you need to read very carefully, okay? How many ones are in the tens place? Okay, well, there is a 5 in the tens place, but that's not how many ones there are in the tens place. To figure out how many ones are in the tens place, you need to figure out what is the value of that 5 because it's in the tens place. It's 50. So if the value of that 5 is 50, how many ones does it take to make 50? It takes 50 of them. Okay. How many tens are in the hundreds place? Well, yes, there is a 2 in the hundreds place. But before we can figure out how many tens are in the hundreds place, we got to figure out what's the value of that 2 in the hundreds place, and it's 200. Okay. So how many tens are in the hundreds place is sort of like the same thing as asking you what number times 10 equals 200. Okay. And you know that for multiplying anything times 10, you need to add a 0 to it when you get the answer. So here we have the answer. We added a 0 to it. So if you take away one of those zeros, it's 20 times 10 equals 200. Okay. Anytime, say it, anytime you multiply a number times 10 to get the answer, all you have to do is add a 0 to the number that you multiplied by 10. So we are multiplying 20 times 10, and if we add a 0 to it, we end up with our answer of 200. So to answer your question, how many tens are in the hundreds place? There are 20 of them, because 20 times 10 gives us the value of our 2 that's in the hundreds place. All righty, 246. How many ones are in the tens place of 246? So before we can figure that out, what's the value of that for? It is 40. So therefore, there are 40 ones in the tens place. And how many tens are in the hundreds place? Again, you got the same digit in the hundreds place. You got that 2. The value of that 2 is 200. What times 10 is 200? What number times 10 equals 200? Well, take away that 0, and it's 20 times 10 equals 200. And boys and girls, that is problem number 1 for our mountain math, also known as the Common Core Daily Review. All right, I am sorry in advance, parents, families, kids, that the names here are different, but Common Core Daily Review is mountain math. All right, boys and girls, take care.